2022 has really been the year to get me back into watching a lot of shows, whether that be week-to-week television or streaming. I'm a movie and animation guy, so television really gets the short end of the straw when it comes to visual entertainment for me. Movies, video games, and anime really take up most of my time, but I'd like to think I struck a good balance this year with mediums, and I want to share what I have been watching throughout my highlights of this year. And when I mean TV show this year, I don't mean specifically releasing this year or airing this year, it's just whatever I watched this year specifically that I enjoyed. So here are my top 5 shows of 2022 that I have watched. Number 5. Samurai Jack. I legit have not watched Samurai Jack since it stopped airing on the Cartoon Network way back when. I would catch some episodes here and there on the sister channel Cartoon Network too, but I never actually clocked on that the show was tragically cut and cancelled. A sad thought that Jack would forever be trapped in the past as a lone samurai, never returning to his own timeline. Low-key, that sounds extremely depressing, but almost a decade later, Adult Swim announced that Jenny Tartakovsky, the creator of the show, would be coming back and would be completing the series with a new season. I am currently watching the show as of right now, this making of this video. I'm currently in the midst of season 2 and I'm fully hooked. The cartoon is actually a lot better than I remembered. I'm genuinely amazed. A kid's action cartoon that barely has any exposition and tells a story throughout animation. And you can legit just imply what's happening just through visuals and sound effects and Jack's reactions and facial expressions. Sometimes it just feels like you're watching a short silent movie, like from the 1930s and 20s. It definitely, even for a Cartoon Network at the time, it definitely still feels like it's aimed towards a more mature audience. I think adults, this is definitely a perfect cartoon for adults. Jack himself is a very cool protagonist, badass yet stoic and humble. Again, I'll have to come back onto this show once I've concluded the series, because I can't wait for the final season when he comes back to the past. But as of right now, it deserves to make my top 5 spot. Number 4. House of the Dragon. Yes, when it comes to the world of A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin, I am very, very, very late to the party. But you know what they say, better late than never. With not having watched a single episode of Game of Thrones and this being a prequel show, I thought why not? The political intrigue in this show is on another level. My first reaction watching House of the Dragon is, it's basically a Pakistani Bollywood drama. Does anyone get that vibe? Does anyone get that vibe at all? If a family, there's a family dynamic, everyone doesn't like each other, but everyone's not perfect, everyone is not good either. Basically a Pakistani Asian drama in a high budget fantasy world. It legit is. You can't deny it. Family backstabbing each other. You have the uncle no one likes. You have the auntie everyone loves. You have the main dad that's just a G and a top boss, Viserys. Come on, like, am I not wrong? But also dragons as well. If you add dragons, the show instantly becomes a 10/10. Time period where the Targaryen house is at its peak of power in the realm, but cracks are starting to form within the house as everyone wants a power grab. One season so far, with season 2 to come very, very soon, and I'm very excited. What I love about the show specifically is where George Martin's writing really shines, and that everyone has good intentions somewhat, but everyone is also flawed. If you're bored of the whole good versus evil dynamic when it comes to fantasy and fiction and storytelling, this is the show for you, man. This is a complete grey zone for every single character in this series. Number 3. DC's Peacemaker. Never in a million years if you told me that this obscure DC comic book character will be portrayed in a live-action Suicide Squad film and then being popular enough to be given a spin-off series on his own, as well as being played by Mr. You Can't See Me himself, John Cena. The glow-up this guy has had since I've watched him since the days of the Marine way back in his WWE days, it's insane. It's legit night and day. Set in the DCEU and introduced as a douchey Captain America type figure in the second Suicide Squad adaptation and thought to be killed off during the film. Slight spoilers there, but Peacemaker somehow survives the last mission and still is under the iron fist that is August and Amanda Waller. Going into Peacemaker, I really didn't expect much. Honestly, I hated the character. He was an arsehole and a dick in the Suicide Squad, but on rewatch of the film, he really is the only character arc that wasn't really left complete. The Peacemaker series completes that deconstruction of his character arc. We see his backstory and just more of Christopher Smith, his alter ego, as well as his pet eagerly, of course, best animal ever. With the end of the series, I would like to think he has been redeemed. Honestly, this series was a sleep hit for me. Legit one of the best characters in the DCEU verse, no cap. Number 2. Game of Thrones, mainly season 1 through season 6. Yeah, we're not going to talk about the other seasons at the end. Ugh. Yep, you didn't expect a double whammy, did you? The Song of Ice and Fire saga continues with Game of Thrones, HBO's Game of Thrones, the epic fantasy by George Martin, and continuing from House of the Dragon. It took a bit of an adjustment to the timeline of this world, but I got the gist of it pretty quick. My first reaction to the series was, bruh, What the hell happened to the Targaryen family? They completely fell off.
What happened?
With the House of the Dragon feeling like a drama in a fantasy world, Game of Thrones is an epic fantasy. What Game of Thrones does best out of any series that I've watched, it is dialogue and character building. The seasons progress in scale and the story grows bigger and bigger. The domino effect occurring from the first season to dozens of episodes later with such satisfying payoffs. No one is safe, no one is heroic. The term of plot armor does not exist in this world. Even with my experience already knowing the majority of the major spoilers in this show, yes, before I even touched Game of Thrones, back when it was airing week to week, I pretty much was thrown a bunch of spoilers at me without context, but still, even with knowing the spoilers, the deaths, the plot beats and plot lines, it's still very, very entertaining. The interactions just keep you glued to your seat. Arya and Tywin, Tyrion and Cersei in season 2, Jon Snow is such a cool protagonist. Varys and Baelish with their just like dialogue flexes. Oh, it's so good, bro. But my thoughts post season 6 is for another day. Let's not ruin the vibe here. Yeah, let's not ruin the vibe here. Despite the diversions from the books and rushed writing in the later season, it's still worth a watch, or until whenever Winds of Winter releases.
I'm waiting.
Number 1.
It's been 2 years since I seen home. 2 years. It's fucking war.
This year was my third rewatch of HBO's Band of Brothers, and it honestly just gets better every time. Based on the true story of Easy Company, a paratrooper division following their account of the Second World War, and it's really remarkable and horrifying what they had to go through. Basically, starting off joining the Airborne as new recruits to worn-torn, gritted, grizzled veterans by the end. We see their accounts from the D-Day invasion, Quarantine, to the Battle of the Bulge. Personally, I think the Band of Brothers series is far superior to Tom Hanks and Spielberg's previous project, Saving Private Ryan. It's so bloody amazing, man. You get such a personal look into these guys' stories. As a late 90s, early 2000s show, both CG and practical effects have aged so well, and the stacked cast of actors many years before they get their limelight in Hollywood. Band of Brothers is the best depiction of a brother-in-arms story you can watch. And there you have it. Those are my top 5 shows that I've watched this year, from new to old. Bro, like, it's really shocking because I see myself as a film fan first. This year's batch of films coming in have been really hit or miss for me. TV show quality that I've seen this year has been far superior. And you can really see the benefits of having a long running storyline rather than like a confined 2-hour movie. But those are my top 5 shows that I would recommend you guys watch. It's been such a memorable year for me when it comes to entertainment. Samurai Jack, I'm having so much fun right now. The Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon just took my year completely in 2022. Band of Brothers I watched during the summer. I would say an honorable mention to the first season of Stranger Things. I finally watched Stranger Things season 1. So fun to watch. And it kind of fell off for me afterwards, but season 1 is like one of the most magical, fun experience I've ever had in that genre. The Goonies vibes, the It vibes, the E.T. vibes are there complete, and I love it. I love it so much. There's some shows that I haven't watched, I haven't got to around. There's The Boys. It's not for me, but I heard that's banging. Better Call Saul. I haven't touched that yet. I need to finish Breaking Bad as well, but yeah. Please let me know down below what you guys think. I shall see you guys in the New Year's. Peace.